Hello, Detective. It's so kind of you to take time out of your busy schedule to visit with me. And when I say take time, I do mean that things got a little hazy after you took a sip out of your drink last night. You may have done some stumbling around before you passed out. And now, well, you're hanging upside down from the rafters of an old warehouse by your ankles. I'm truly sorry if it's uncomfortable, but, well, I couldn't help but notice you're very twitchy with your trigger finger. And I really do feel we need to discuss some things. If all goes well, we'll have you back down and on your feet before you start asphyxiating from the extra weight pressing on your lungs. But all the blood having rushed to those cute charred cheeks should allow us the chance for a nice, uninterrupted chat. Now, where to begin? I should probably address the elephant in the room. Yes, I know that you're a detective. I know you've been undercover for at least 5 months. Though it's likely more with an operation of this magnitude. You've been a busy little bee trying to work your way into the hive that is the Trevalle family. But color me impressed. The Trevalle family hates outsiders. And yet, somehow you've managed to not only wheedle your way in, but build up a foundation so strong you're already getting power among some of the lower tiers. I have to give credit where credit is due. And you definitely deserve some credit here. But most amazing of all, I know personally that they've no idea a detective has made their way into the family fold. And I should mention, I have no intention of letting such carefully guarded information slip. In fact, should this meeting go well, I may be able to offer some guidance. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, aren't we? I should begin by saying what a pleasure it is that we finally get the chance to meet face to face. I can't say you haven't gone unnoticed when I've seen you at events and soirees. And I have noticed your gaze lingering my way now and again. But I've chalked that up to your ever so keen need to size up a room. Truly, one of your best and worst traits. You see, it's because of that trait you're in the predicament you're in now. It's why, as amusing as you've been to watch, you've also become the biggest thorn in my side. Even now, watching you sway back and forth, I have this ache in the back of my head. This constant little whisper that says, I'm wasting my time. That all of this would be so much simpler if I just picked up my knife here and allowed it to do the talking. But if there's one thing I've come to learn in my line of work, patience is key. Patience and connections, and you are quite the connection. Do you know how long I've been watching you? You've gone into that dingy little apartment to meet with your fellow law enforcement. How every Tuesday you think you're mixing things up by going to the sandwich shop on Haraway instead of the usual on Nebraska Road. Except you swap that every second Thursday and will then go a few days without either and dine out with some of the family. You go to those places because the family wants you to win over some despots from their rivals in the Dover gang. It's going well. One of them might actually say yes to you. Yeah, I've started learning your schedule as well as I've learned my own marks. And speaking of marks, that's what this entire conversation boils down to. You've been getting into the way of my contracts, just as you have slowly built a reputation for being the person to turn to in order to get a deal done. I've become the Grim Reaper for the major card holders of the warring families. I've gone by many names. Thimble, Needle, Thread, Roderick. Yes, I know that last one doesn't really fit the bill. And now, Lace. That look in your eyes. I see my reputation precedes me just a tad. Have you been on a case where my calling card has come up? They don't often. Not unless one of my employers wants more than an accident. I'm valued for my discretion above all else, though. I take great pride in it, in fact. But that discretion is becoming much harder to come by now. Now that someone new has entered the game. Someone who I just had to talk to. Someone like you, Detective. You see, no matter where I go, no matter what parties I attend or galas I'm invited to for the sake of my commitments, you're always there. It's frustrating, to say the least, because somehow, some way, whenever I get a new mark, you somehow become that person's new best friend. You're tied to them like a lover, becoming so very, very chummy. At first I thought this was due to the connections the Trevalle family was having you make. And then I started to notice a pattern. I'd go into the alley with one of my new friends, and suddenly you were having a conversation there. I'd visit a new joint where one of my marks liked to dine, and you'd bring half your crew there for a bite. Suddenly, the eye contact between you and I were no longer passing glances. Suddenly, my work became much, much harder. And I looked at the source and I found you. Do you know how vexing that can be? To be good at what you do, and a little gnat enters the room and won't leave you alone. I don't know what is going through your mind, but know that I want to wrap my arms around you and hold you close until I can feel your chest release its last breath. I want to see how different your shade of blood is compared to my latest quarry. There are so many ways I could make you shudder beneath my touch. But you've got one advantage. One little line I would rather not cross. That invisible badge that shields that heart of yours. kill you. But I don't want to kill a detective. So, I'm here to offer a peace treaty, as it were. You know the people that I go after. They're not the savory sort. They're convicts, criminals, bad people blossoming under the tutelage of the families. Individuals that would hire me to kill you just as quickly as you've been attempting to save them from me. Let them go. Stop attempting to save the world and focus on your task, taking down the Trevalle family. You and I both know that in the crime world, their heads are worth nearly all the families combined. You are risking everything by getting in my way. If you stop this foolishness, I'll not only allow you to keep this facade, I'll help you to improve it. To ensure that you catch every last crook in that little mental checklist of yours. Well, every one of them except for me. Now, I know you're going to need some time to think on this. I'll give you until our next meeting, and trust me, it will be much sooner than you can think. In another half hour, some of your people will be alerted to your position here. You'll tell them that it was the Cardales that did this to you. They'll buy it immediately. And then you'll go about your business. Until I contact you again. In the meantime, Detective, it has been such a pleasure.